on, guys? Welcome back to the Pinfalls and Playbooks podcast, episode number 18. As always, I'm your host, Faiz Kabir, alongside my co-host, Pardon Khan. This week, we have a lot to talk about in terms of wrestling. We have a lot to get into with sports. We have our MLB recap, our World Series winners we're going to talk about. We obviously have our NBA recap, and we're going to talk about our NBA Cup predictions, as well as always, our NFL recap. Plus, it's our sideline heel take for this week, and we got a juicy one, so stay tuned for that. All right, guys, first off, we're going to start off with our wrestling recap, and we're going to quickly go into Saturday night's main event. So Saturday night's main event was a 4-match card. It was an okay card, nothing crazy, but there was a lot of championship matches on this card, which was kind of unexpected going into this card.
Yeah, I think this was the most championship matches in a Saturday night's main event in a long time.
Right. So the show started off with Cody Rhodes versus Drew McIntyre for the WWE Championship. This match was better than their first match that they had, I believe, based on like the wrestling in-ring work.
And that ref wasn't there.
And the ref wasn't there as always. But pretty much what the stipulation was this match was if Cody Rhodes gets counted out or disqualified, Drew McIntyre wins the championship. This is kind of a throwback to when Christian and Randy Orton had their feud, and that's how kind of the titles changed at that time. But now, most likely, a lot of people didn't think that this title would change hand on this show. But
not like that.
Not like that,
yeah.
Right. But especially with Cody Rhodes in the reign that he's having. But this match basically was Drew trying to bait Cody to pretty much the whole match, just trying to get him DQ'd or get him counted out. But what ended up happening in this match is what we've been seeing from Cody Rhodes doing recently, which is kind of using advantages to win. And this is all leading to possibly, maybe in the future, leading to a heel turn. We don't know yet still. But every match that they've been doing, he's been kind of doing a little bit of heelish tactics to kind of pick up the W. But in this match, he specifically used the title to DDT Drew McIntyre onto it and hit one crossroads only on Drew McIntyre for the win, which is kind of crazy because when you think about it, when a specimen like Drew McIntyre can take only one crossroads when you know for a fact he faced people like Logan Paul.
I think it was just more of like a time sake type of deal, to be honest.
I guess, but they were on Peacock though. They weren't on live cable, so they could have made any time they wanted, to be honest. Yeah. But it kind of makes it feel like Drew McIntyre was kind of worthless opponent on this. It didn't look good for him, especially taking this pinfall kind of clean. It wasn't really clean, but it was kind of clean. And it makes Drew McIntyre look like what is really next for him. Can they still somehow continue this storyline? I guess the only way they can is pretty much being like, all right, we use the title. Cody Rhodes used the title. I deserve another shot. Probably prolonging it to something bigger at Survivor Series. I still feel like a Survivor Series is a bigger storyline to that match. Whether it's Drew involved, whether it's Cody, whether it's Randy, or whether it's Jacob Fatu if he's back within that time frame.
Yeah.
But that was pretty much that match. Next was Tiffany Stratton versus Jade Cargill.
Yeah, this was a crazy squash match.
Right.
Jade Cargill just went in there, just absolutely annihilated Tiffany Stratton.
It kind of reminded me of like a lower scale of John Cena versus Brock Lesnar at SummerSlam, where it was just like, okay, the big baby face is coming in, who's been the champ for a while. Now you have that dominant heel who's ready to like take over, and this pretty much was the match. Jade Cargill, 95% of the match had this match covered. Tiffany had like maybe 5% of offense, but Jade Cargill took advantage. I guess the story was that Tiffany Stratton's knee was messed up, so Jade Cargill took advantage of that, delivered her finish, and picked up a dominant win. And it's going to be leading to her possibly. Obviously, we know the big storyline is going to be her versus Bianca. We don't know if it's going to be now or they can save that till Mania because this Mania is still a little long away. And what Jade can do, especially with that depleted women's roster.
Right, there's like a lot of build-up in the women's division on SmackDown going on.
Right, and they need more stars on that SmackDown's roster. Yeah. So maybe I believe that they said the shakeup is coming soon, or a draft is coming up soon, so that's going to shake things up. But ultimately, Jade won this title. They've been wanting Jade to win this title for a long time, and I guess
rightfully so because Tiffany Stratton's title run wasn't as great. Yeah, we thought,
and they needed a shake up in that division.
Exactly.
So that was that match. Next, we had probably the best match of the night, which was the most fun match of the night.
It was the most entertaining.
Which was Rusev versus Penta versus Dirty Dom for the IC title. And I've noticed this recently. Any match that Dom's been in recently, he's been pretty entertaining in it, and that's just because his character is charismatic and the way that he acts. And in this match, we had a lot of spots where it was a lot of dives. But we can talk about one spot where it's kind of went meme and viral was Rusev.
Yeah, so basically what happened was Rusev, I believe, threw Dom over the table or Penta over the table.
I think it was one of those two. They were by the ring steps.
Yeah. So Rusev was standing outside of the ring, and then some kid tapped him on the shoulder.
Yeah.
He's like, "Go, Rusev!" And then Rusev screamed at him. He's like, "Yo, don't touch me!" And then you could just see in the background the kid just screamed for mercy. Basically, it was probably the best thing of the show, to be honest with you. It was incredible to watch.
I think literally everybody heard it. Even the announcers had to acknowledge it at that point.
And even the parents of the kid was just laughing at him. Like, yo, it was like a little boy like that got scared. I understand, but to the level that he got scared, it's a little like.
Well, it's because he's still a little kid.
No,
like,
I understand.
He probably got scared, like, legitimately.
I hope Rusev actually went up to him maybe after or something. I was like, yo, I'm sorry, but that shit was funny. I'm not gonna lie.
Right, but at this match, we all expected that Dom was gonna retain the title, and what happened was Dom continues these shenanigans, but specifically the hammer. So he kind of used the hammer to do a fake ring bell, and Rusev was celebrating, acting like he won the title finally.
He's like, "Yo, I'll put my hand up."
Rusev was great in this pretty much segment, this whole segment at the end, where it was just like acting like he was winning, the facial reactions, everything. But Dom ends up picking up the win and hitting. I believe he hit
Rusev. Penta hit Rusev because Dom ducked out of the way. And then
Dom dumped out.
Yeah,
Penta.
And then he hit Penta, hit the 619 frog splash, and then he won the match.
And that was pretty much of that match. After this, we finally had an announcement of what John Cena's final match is going to be at Saturday Night's Main Event. So on this show, this is where they announced, and we've been hearing rumors about it all month long with about a tournament.
Yeah, it was just basically a matter of time when they were going to announce it and how they were going to announce it, and they did it during Saturday Night's Main Event. We'll touch upon it during our Raw recap in a little bit, but basically, it's just we don't know. Everybody was questioning who's going to be John Cena's last opponent.
Right.
So many different people came up, and I guess this is the appropriate way. And what happened was WWE, well, not even, they had John Cena basically cut a promo saying, I don't even know who's going to be my last opponent.
Right.
He's like, it could be anybody from Raw, it could be anybody from SmackDown, it could be anybody from NXT. It could be some from another promotion, which raises a lot of even more questions. So that's later on to discuss, but I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it's gonna be a great tournament. It's gonna be a great build to all the way up until whenever this tournament ends. Most likely, the final might be at Survivor Series.
Oh, the final match between the two competitors.
I think that's where we're gonna be happening.
That makes sense.
And then it gives it a week or two to build to that John Cena match. So that's the way to do it. But let's talk about the main event.
Yeah.
This main event was not a good main event.
They should have just done this match first and then swap the Cody and
I get it, but like you had to crown a new champion.
That's true.
That's the way you end the show. Yeah. And we had, obviously we're talking about is CM Punk versus Jey Uso for this match. So Jey Uso coming to this match, a lot of people didn't want Jey Uso in this position anymore. And it's interesting, before this match happened, and actually I don't know if you see this on Raw, Jey Uso kind of cut a promo on, they have a show called Raw Recap, where he was talking with, I believe, one of the commentators and telling them that he's tired of people thinking that he's just a catchphrase. And when he says something like that, you're assuming that he's going to go into the match and put on a banger and put on a show.
In my opinion, he's just always all talk about certain things, and when he's not in ring. I feel like whatever he says outside of the ring, it makes sense to a certain degree, but he just never really backs the talk.
And in this match, it just looked like he was off. We had, in this match, it started off in a wrong way where we had a neck breaker spot where CM Punk kicked him in the head because he was pissed off about, I think Jey Uso just over-rotated on the neck breaker spot, kicked him in the head, they did it again. We had another spot in this match where they messed up a GTS or messed up a spear. It just didn't look good.
It fell out the ring.
And in this chemistry, it wasn't working with them. These are the first time that these two had a one-on-one match. And it looks like we're probably not going to have this match again because I think
nobody wants to see it.
I think the masses didn't really enjoy this match, and especially we didn't enjoy this match as well. But at the end of the day, you needed to crown a champion, and I'd rather have CM Punk hold this title for who knows how long. I doubt it's going to be any really lengthy reign, but CM Punk ended up picking this win, and we had Jey Uso looking a little spiteful after the match outside, hinting at something. I still feel like there is a storyline to push him in that direction, but that kind of didn't happen, and we'll talk about that as we go right into our Raw recap. So our Raw recap started with CM Punk delivering a promo to start the show off saying that he's willing to be a fighting champion. He named out a bunch of opponents like AJ Styles,
JD McDonough, Finn Balor, and even John Cena.
Right, he just said that, but that's not going to happen.
Right.
But
it would make sense though, but they already fought, so
it's not going to happen. Yeah. But unless the only other way is somehow CM Punk's in that tournament, but I doubt it.
No.
But we had a surprise return on this show.
Yeah, so as CM Punk was naming those individuals, I totally forgot about him. I'm not gonna lie.
Everybody forgets about him.
We're talking about the Maverick, Logan Paul. He came out and CM Punk got really upset. He was like, "No, no, no, I don't want to know any part of you." And Logan Paul was basically saying, "I defeated all of the guys that you just listed, so I deserve a title opportunity." And don't get me wrong, I feel like he definitely does, especially now that Punk is the champion.
Yeah.
But it would make for good TV because
they're
Logan
both great
Paul
talkers.
They're both really good in ring. I think Logan Paul is just a bit better because of his youth, his athleticism, what he brings to the table in ring. But it would make for a good match. And eventually this led up to the Vision coming out. And the Vision spew what they need to spew all the damn time. Braun Breaker was basically like, yo, you're the placeholder in my, like you're holding the championship in my place at this very moment. And Paul Heyman was basically saying, oh, the spotlight belongs to us. Mm-hmm. We took care of Seth Rollins, and you're just in our way, basically.
Right. And it led to what ended up happening in this scenario was Braun Breaker and the Vision was gonna attack CM Punk, and I believe Logan Paul stepped out of the ring originally because he didn't want any part of it, but Braun Breaker pushed him down, and we had a little switch up where Logan Paul was kind of looking like about to go a little face and try to help CM Punk. Slid into the ring and did, but at the end of the day, it all felt like a little bit off.
Yeah.
And that's the reason why we'll talk about it in the main event, why it fell off. But next we had was Penta versus El Grande Americano.
It's funny how they gave all the El Grandes names now, I think, right?
Well, they always had names. It's Bravo, Rayo. It's been like that for a while, but we all know that's literally Tyler Bate and Pete Dunne. But we had a match where Penta really needed a win because he just feels like he hasn't been picking up wins.
There's no direction right now.
So this was a good match. Hopefully this feud is done. Like I don't want them to continue this scenario, but Penta picked up a decent win. Next we probably had
the surprise of the night.
I think it was the best segment of the night, to be honest. Too is Dominic Mysterio came out to pretty much gloat about his Intercontinental Championship win and talking about how he's the best Intercontinental Champion, best Mega Champion, and the best King of the Luchadors. Right. Which led to the return of Rey Mysterio.
Yeah, so we haven't seen Rey Mysterio in months. He was supposedly out with an injury.
No, he was out. So he was actually legitimately injured. So I forgot that he literally got injured. Remember this? He literally got injured right before WrestleMania. He was supposed to have a match with Gable at WrestleMania.
Okay.
And then he got injured, and that's why that match didn't happen.
Right. So he basically came out and he was telling Dominic Mysterio that you're not the king of the Luchadors as long as he's around.
Right.
He's not the best Mysterio as long as he's around. And then Dom had the funniest response when Rey Mysterio was talking about Eddie Guerrero.
Well, he was naming off all the legends.
Yeah, all the great luchadors.
Right? Santo, Blue Demon, and then he named Eddie Guerrero, and that's where he came up with that line.
Yeah, so Dominic Mysterio said, "Don't talk about my dad like that."
Which is funny, but then literally the next line, he just literally shaded over. He was like, "I'm better than Eddie Guerrero still," which kind of just made for comedy because like he protected him, and then he just ran right over him. But what it looks like is we're having another Rey Mysterio and Dominic Mysterio match. And it's interesting because I wonder where this match is going to take place and how it's going to go. So the last time that these two had an interaction was when Dom won the AAA championship over Vikingo.
Right.
And Dom made Rey Mysterio strap the title around him. And Rey basically looked really pissed off about that. So I'm interested to see if they're going to go instead of the AAA pathway or they're going to go for the IC title pathway. It looks like they might actually do it as a AAA title match because
so that'll be like the main event of a
AAA show most likely, and that's fine. Like I have no problem because
it can go either way.
It could literally Rey Mysterio could win the AAA championship again, which he hasn't done in probably like for years. Well, last time he was in AAA, but it looks like that match is going to happen. And if it doesn't happen in that, the other scenario is in Survivor Series.
Right.
They're both from San Diego. That's the way to do that match too.
For that to happen too.
And there's another, like, we're pretty much skipping around this show. There's a lot of other matches that we kind of like didn't talk about, but it's just those matches are really not building to any storyline. And it's probably the women's stuff that's not really like building to anything right now. But what we had was we had also Becky Lynch. We forgot about Becky Lynch. She kind of came out and just did a quick little promo about Maxine Dupree and kind of keeping that feud still going. And that match is eventually going to happen. And who knows, like the crowd is behind Maxine Dupree. She could end up winning this title eventually.
Yeah, because we don't know any indication that AJ Lee is going to come back. if there is
she's
gonna be a
announced
feud,
for the MSG
MSG.
show.
So there's potential for that, but I feel like she should be more into the world title picture as of now because of who she is.
Right.
So kind of just wouldn't make sense. I feel like they should give Maxine Dupree the opportunity. Will they? It's too early to tell, but we'll get there eventually.
Next, we had the tag team championship rematch. It was a good match, but it wasn't as good as their first match.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's pretty much the end of that match. Like, I don't think there was anything really crazy to talk about for that match. And we're gonna see who the next opponents are for
AJ and Dragon Lee, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
So we'll see how they do it. They can also go the New Day route. They can go the Viking Raiders route. There's still a decent amount of tag teams that they can work with.
Any match that's not the Judgment Day right now would be entertaining.
Right, because this is a new, fresh tag team that we can see them in the ring with. Next, we had John Cena, the tournament announcements. So I thought they were going to release a bracket, but instead they decided to go with the old school Tumblr vision, where they kind of would pull names out of a hat. Out of a ball, and spinning ball. So the first two matches that they announced was Rusev versus Damian Priest and Shinsuke Nakamura versus Sheamus. In my opinion, these two matches, I think it's obvious who's going to win these matches. I think Rusev's going to beat Damian Priest, and I think Sheamus is going to beat Nakamura. I think those two definitely move on.
Yeah.
But I believe that Adam Pearce did say that on Friday they're going to announce another group of two. So I guess it's a good way to get the first initial matches like that. And then we can see the bracket of who's going to be lining up and who's going to be matching up. I think after that would be a great way because it's 16 men. So
there's still people from NXT that needs to be announced.
Exactly.
And potentially
other a TNA most likely is the other is going to be the other end. Joe Hendry, you still have Nick Nemeth.
Yeah.
There's a lot of names on the TNA roster that can also possibly make a appearance on this. But we finally went into the main event. We had another variation of the Bronze matches. They're going to be in these tag team matches most likely all the time on Raw. But we had CM Punk and Jey Uso early on in the show saying that CM Punk, let's team up. I'm on your side. I got your back. Let's do this. Tag team match, regular tag team match, nothing crazy to talk about, but it ended up in a pretty much decisive brawl. Like I didn't think we were going to get a winner in this match anyway.
Yeah, it never really works that way anyways.
Yeah, because you can't really pin anybody on that, exactly. Really. So you had a brawl. It led to a count out, I guess a double count out at that point. But what was the big thing on this show is we had Logan Paul, who made a return back into the ring and kind of was teasing that he was going to be on CM Punk's side. However, that wasn't the case.
Right. So he came in, and I believe everybody had steel chairs in hand, if I'm not mistaken.
I think it was just Punk.
Punk. I think the Bronze had chairs too. All you see is Jey Uso laid out on the floor, and we didn't know what was going to happen. Then Logan Paul came out. He had brass knuckles in his hands, and we thought like, oh shit, he's going to help out CM Punk and attack the Vision. I would say about 3 seconds later, he just sucker punched CM Punk.
He knocked him out.
He knocked him out. And at the end of the show, you basically see Logan Paul walking towards Paul Heyman. He took off the brass knuckles and handed it over to Paul Heyman.
Yeah.
So that raises the question: did he join the Vision? Is this something leading to War Games? We don't know yet. There's still a lot of questions that need to be answered. But this is it's an interesting step.
Oh, for sure.
To possible great direction.
Right, and it's good to get Logan Paul involved in this because the Vision kind of. So the thing with the Vision is they're getting cheered because of Braun Breaker. People love Braun Breaker, but if you throw Logan Paul into that group, they're gonna get booed immediately just because of the heat that Logan Paul has.
Right.
And I think they needed that. They needed someone that they can just physically just boo all the time, and that's associated with that group. And I think this is gonna lead to definitely a War Games match because. You have those three. You have rumors about other people joining the Vision, like Austin Theory and all these people. You still need 2 more members for the Vision. And on the Punk side, there's a lot of people you can see.
The Usos in
the
general.
Usos and Roman Reigns. Yeah. That's all you need.
Right.
That's 2. No, that's 4. You need one more. So it's a 5-on-5 match. So it's going to be interesting to see LA Knight. He could be on that. Yeah. That's your 5 right there on the one side. CM Punk's team versus Braun Breaker's team. And it's going to be interesting to see who they decide to pick for their next 2.
Yeah, makes sense.
Right, and we'll see this play out because this is the beginning of the month.
Right.
The Survivor Series is at the end of the month. There's at least 3 to 4 weeks of story to build for this. And it's going to be good. I think it's going to be good television for the next 2 to 3 weeks.
I agree, yeah.
But that kind of sums up our Raw recap and our wrestling recap for this week. All right, guys, now let's quickly talk about the MLB recap. So we're coming off the winner of the World Series. The World Series actually ended up going to a Game 7. So far, I'll let you talk about who won the World Series and how crazy that Game 7 was.
Yeah, so this was probably one of the most entertaining World Series in a long time, probably stemming back to like 2019 with the Nationals and the Astros. And we haven't seen a Game 7 since. So it's kind of crazy that this game actually, or the series rather, went to 7 games, because a lot of people were picking the Dodgers because of their firepower,
Right.
their arms, and their
Right.
pitching staff. But the Blue Jays, they showed, I guess,
They're
resilience.
They're fighters.
They have great hitters. They have great contact. They put the ball in play. They run the base as well. They have great defense, and it showed throughout the whole series. And they pushed it to Game 7. Now, getting into Game 7, this was a very fun game. Let's just say that I had fun watching, and I hate both of these teams.
It was nerve-wracking.
It was very nerve-wracking. So Shohei Ohtani pitched for the Dodgers, and I believe who pitched? Max Scherzer.
Oh, Max Scherzer.
Max Scherzer started the game. Shohei Ohtani struggled in the first few innings, and he gave up a 3-run home run to Bo Bichette. And everybody thought, like, oh, shit, this is it. Blue Jays are about to cash in, and this is their moment. Max Scherzer pitched actually very well.
Yeah.
And he shut them out for pretty much 5 innings, but then this led to a bullpen game. And when you get into a bullpen game in Game 7, you utilize arms that's been previously used many times. And they played a game literally the night before.
Yeah.
So the Dodgers started chipping away. They had a sac fly from Teoscar Hernandez. They got on base a few times, and they ended up getting the ball at the bottom of the 7th inning. Max Muncy hit a bomb off of Trey Savage.
Big home run.
Much needed home run from the Dodgers, and it was 4-3. And in the bottom of the ninth, the Blue Jays brought in their closer Jeff Hoffman, and we thought, oh shit, this is it.
They were literally about to 1 strike away from winning the World Series.
No, it was
it was 3-2. It was 3-2.
No. It was.
I'm talking about with Will
Smith. They had. No, that was later on.
Oh, okay. I'm talking about literally at the end.
Oh, okay. So what happened was they brought in Jeff Hoffman, and Miguel Rojas was up to at bat.
Yeah.
And he hit the most clutchest home run in a long time. And it was 3-2, like you said.
Mind you, Miguel Rojas shouldn't even be playing.
No, so he's playing because I forgot what had happened. They just brought him up for no reason. And damn it, he just hit the most.
This guy shouldn't have even been on the field.
And he hit the most clutchest home run in recent memory. I believe it is the most clutchest home run.
That's crazy.
It tied the game, and we went into extra innings. And the 10th inning, it was just basically like a free fall. They were getting out here and there. And in the 11th inning, Will Smith, that's when he came up. And he hit a bomb off of Shane Bieber, and the Dodgers went up 5-4. Eventually, they brought in Yoshinobu Yamamoto. He pitched for 2 innings, and mind you, he pitched the night before for 6.5 innings.
I need to talk about him after you go into
96 pitches. And he came in. He actually got into a jam earlier on in the game in the bottom of the 9th inning. The Blue Jays had runners on base. They had a crazy out where Miguel Rojas again threw him out at home, and then
we got to talk about Paez.
I believe Ernie Clement had a fly ball out to left, and Kike Hernandez and Andy Paez, they were both running after it. Nobody was calling for the ball.
Paez said, "Give me that,"
and Paez literally mossed him, and we just saw Kike Hernandez laying on the floor like that. But eventually, in the 11th inning, I believe Vlad Guerrero, he got on base, and he walked Addison Barger, what led up to Alejandro Kirk, and not known for his speed.
He's a catcher, man.
He grounded out, and basically the Dodgers won the World Series.
Grounded out, but we got to talk about the crazy play by Rojas for the defensive to Mookie Betts.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my. Rojas, again, made a crucial stop defensively. This guy was doing everything, offense and defense. Crucial stop, threw it to Mookie Betts, and Mookie Betts delivered a bomb.
No. Betts caught the ball.
But he delivered a strike to first base and ended the game, and the World Series was over. The Dodgers were crowned.
And they went
back to back.
Yeah.
We got to talk about Yamamoto. Yeah. Yamamoto was announced as the MVP, as deservedly so.
Rightfully so.
This guy ended up showing up why he might be the best pitcher in the NL after this performance. Like, this is insane. These Japanese people are not human. They're not.
They're not.
Yamamoto literally pitched the night before. Did you see this clip online where I believe Dave Roberts was talking about it, and whoever his pitcher coordinator is, he's like, "We need Yoshi," and Dave Roberts was like, "All right." He tells the interpreter, he's like, "Yamamoto." Yamamoto doesn't do anything, drops everything, and starts to warm up. You had the other Japanese, I think was
Sasaki.
Sasaki's looking.
He's Korean. He's Japanese.
He's Japanese. Yeah. Rosaki was like, "Yamamoto, again?" And Yamamoto's like,
I'm surprised they didn't play Sasaki, which is
you don't need him when you have Yamamoto. Goddamn
That's
it.
true.
And Yamamoto was like, he looked at him and he just tipped his cap. He was like, it's about to go to. He's like, I'm going to game time right now. The entire bullpen was shocked when Yamamoto went up again, because guess what? Yamamoto, the guy, obviously the interpreter asked him like, Yamamoto, can you go? And Yamamoto's like, of course I can go. And this dude is delivering bombs. He literally 6 innings played last night. He was still throwing 90+ heaters. Insane. You can't. And the thing is, like, people hate to admit how Yamamoto should have went to other teams. He should have been on a team. But in reality, nobody thought he was going to go anywhere else besides with Shohei Ohtani. And it played out. The Dodgers are one of the prime reasons of paying the players, and look what happens. You end up results. And we had the parade that happened, I believe, yesterday.
Yeah.
And these guys are already talking about going 3-peat. So, and the thing is, are they already the favorites? Kind of are, in my opinion. How are they not the favorites?
At this point, they're probably just gonna go after everybody, defer all this money. They'll probably be like, we'll suffer later, just win now, keep winning. And at this point, most teams should follow. And I'm not sure what everybody else is gonna do, but you have the big spenders out there that should be really looking at this and be like, listen, if they could do it, we could do it too. As of right now, they are the favorites to win next year, rightfully so. There's a lot of key free agents that they're, I guess, going to be looking at. And
it's going to be crazy.
It's just a matter of just being like, like how Glasnow and Snell said it. If you can't beat him, join him, which is kind of a pussy move in my opinion. But at the end of the day, if you want your ring, go after your ring.
At that point, the thing is, you're a free agent.
Right.
You're going to go wherever you get the best money, and the Dodgers give them the best money. What else are you going to do? I'm not gonna go anywhere else.
That's understandable.
Think about it this way. I get your point, but I feel like in NBA, remember in NBA, when you join a better team, people view it as like a pussy move.
Yeah.
MLB, I think it's very different, and you know why? Is because they throw you the most money, and you're the best team. Why wouldn't you take it?
It's contradictory because so many other teams have the capabilities,
but they don't offer them
because they don't want to, because they don't want the financial responsibility. The Dodgers are just saying fuck it as of right now. Because I'm sure in like 2030, 2035,
right,
their payroll is going to be ridiculous, and then they're going to suffer then, which is fine.
Unless they keep getting investors and have money flowing through, which is LA.
I understand. They always will. You have these other big market teams like Boston, New York, Houston, Chicago. They don't want to do it. Why? That's a question you got to ask them. But when you have teams that they should be looking at, if they want to win, this is the right way to do it. And at the end of the day, Dodgers, rightfully so, they're probably going to be favorites, and at least for the next foreseeable future, at least for the next 3 to 4 years.
Yeah, just because of based off the youngness and the youthness on that team already.
No, they're not that young, but
you still have Shohei who can give you another good solid years. You still have Yamamoto who can give you a lot of years. Glasnow, Blake Snell, but these guys can deliver for at least 3 to 4 years. You know that though.
It's the, I guess, overall totem pole, what you got to go through against them, and that's what teams are going to be looking at, and how they can capitalize moving forward.
And we got to talk about real quick is the interpreter for Shohei and basically all the Japanese players on that team. He's now got promoted to basically player analysis for Japan. So they're going to be bringing in a lot of Japanese players.
Well, think about Shota Imanaga just opted out of the Cubs, and I know the Dodgers are going to be like, okay,
of course.
You got that guy Murakami. He's probably going to be.
They might bring him in too.
So it's basically going to be the Japanese team in a couple of years.
And guess what? And you know what's crazy? Like one thing I want to say, last thing about this is I went on the Dodgers Instagram page, and basically all the comments on it, it's all Japanese.
It's crazy.
Japanese people love baseball. I think they love baseball more than Americans, in my opinion.
Listen, man.
Japanese is huge. Baseball is huge in Japan.
I think I mentioned this before. It's just. It's kind of obvious that it's becoming more international in the MLB right now. Because if you look at all the best players, they're not American.
No.
I saw the Judge, Raleigh, Trout. Everybody else is Spanish or Japanese, And this is going to be the new wave moving forward. It's just a matter of every other team starting to catch up, doing their shit, stop being pussies, and be like the Dodgers. Because that's their winning formula. If you care about winning, you got to do what they got to do. If you got to beat the champs, you got to be the champs, you know what I mean?
For sure. And that kind of sums up our MLB recap for the rest of this season. We're not going to be talking about MLB.
Unless if there's a massive free agent signing with it. We'll probably see a lot in December. And we'll touch up on it as it goes on.
For now, MLB, we're going to be retiring it for now, and we'll pick it up whenever we have big news or anything else to say about it. All right, guys. Now it's time to get straight into our NFL recap. So the first game on the docket we're going to talk about is the Colts versus the Steelers. So I know, Farnan, before this game even started, you were calling the Steelers defense a little overrated.
Yeah, clearly they kind of heard me.
So. They showed up. Jalen Ramsey, the squad showed up, and they beat probably the most high-powered offense in the NFL currently, the Colts. We had a game that was kind of exposed on the Colts from Daniel Jones, where he kind of looked like his old self again. I believe he had 3 interceptions. Jonathan Taylor did absolutely nothing. The Colts, TJ Watt, and the whole front line basically made sure he did nothing that whole game.
This was a necessary win for them because they probably heard all the noise that's been talking about the team, especially coming off of back-to-back losses.
Right.
So this was crazy. You're going up against the best team in the AFC, and it kind of they need to perform.
And you had Rodgers, who continues to he delivers what he needs to, and it's interesting because that's what the Jets thought he was gonna do, and look at him doing it with the Steelers, and you see what happens when you have the correct coaching, and it's obvious at this point that he is enjoying to play for Mike Tomlin. Every player always says it; they love to play with Mike Tomlin, and you see it here where the Steelers rallied, they picked up this win. It was 27-20. It was a close game at the end, but the Steelers showed up again at the defense at the end of the game. I think the game was sealed with an interception.
Yeah.
So that was the recap for that game.
Yeah, so the next game on the list was Vikings and Lions. Vikings, they actually won this game, which is surprising to a lot of people because...
Let's talk about again where you were wrong about J.J. McCarthy. You called him overrated, and let's see how he does.
Oh, I didn't say he was overrated. I just said I didn't believe him as of yet. But when you have Justin Jefferson on your team, you kind of have to get him the ball, and that's what he did. You get Justin Jefferson the ball, he's going to do everything possible to make it work. The Lions, on the other hand, I don't know what happened to them. They struggled really early. They couldn't really move the ball down the field. Maybe Kevin O'Connell had a great game plan for them, but they didn't look like themselves how we saw them from the first 6-7 games of the season. And ultimately, they weren't good in the first half, but then they started coming back in the second half. Right. But the Vikings, they started, I guess, playing like themselves, moving the ball down the field, scoring when it mattered the most, and ultimately they just capitalized or J.J. McCarthy capitalized when they needed to.
Yeah, he delivered a lot of good balls in that game.
Yeah, for sure. And you have Justin Jefferson, you have Jordan Addison, you have T.J. Hawkinson, you have 2 good running backs.
Yeah.
There's no reason for you to struggle now, especially seeing the game, how Carson Wentz played before he went down, understanding it more.
Yeah.
Maybe he'll turn things around, and it'll be a good thing for them because that team is loaded with talent. It's just a matter of getting the ball to the right playmakers and making it happen.
And I think JJ shows signs that he's capable of
exactly.
it. He's not terrible.
No.
And the thing is, it's good for him because it's going to build confidence for him. He's a young player, obviously, but he's going to continue to build confidence, deliver the ball to those correct players. And I think the Vikings could possibly go on a run from here, especially having the confidence of beating a team like the Lions.
If the Vikings defense plays well and they can get a flow going on offense, I could see them actually making the playoffs. We don't know if they're going to win the division as of yet, but they have the capabilities to do so.
All right, and then the next game I want to talk about is the Falcons versus the Patriots. This game was very close. There was a lot of interesting plays on both sides of the ball. So Drake May played good, but not great. And this is the first time we've seen Drake May this season struggle with a pressured defense. The Falcons were doing their job and getting to the ball very well. They got a lot of sacks in this game. They were getting in Drake May's face, not allowing him to run, which is actually the way that you kind of got to play the Patriots. You can't allow Drake May to extend the play because if he extends the plays, he's going to make a play with his legs or with his arm. And the Falcons did a really good job of containing him in the pocket. And what happened was pretty much we had Drake May delivering balls where he needed to, getting us the touchdowns that he needed to. However, this was a big game for Drake London. Drake London hasn't had a big game all season. And in this game, he was tearing up Christian Gonzalez. He was tearing up Marcus Jones. And these guys are...
He had some crazy catches.
He had some crazy catches, but he ended up having over a 100-yard game and 3 touchdowns in this game. A crazy one-handed touchdown at the end of the game to tie the game up at 24. At 23, they were up 23-24, and then we had Parker Romo.
Yeah, he missed the game time.
Let's talk about Parker Romo, who was a Patriot when the season started. Now he's not a Patriot, and I was like, okay, this guy is gonna make this kick. Why wouldn't he just make this kick?
It's a point after attempt.
Extra point, missed the kick.
It's crazy.
Missed the kick, and the Patriots got the ball back. And the Patriots got the ball back. There was still time left on the clock, so they were trying to run the clock out and get a first down. Falcons made a stop. Falcons got the ball back. This is where it got a little bit of interesting. So the Falcons needed to drive down the field and obviously probably aim for a field goal. But the Patriots all game long has been struggling on defense, but they made a critical stop on defense when they needed to. And most likely that's going to be all praise to Mike Vrabel, disciplining the team and making sure that they got to stop at the penalties at the end of the game and hold up. And the Patriots scurried away with this win, and it continues them on a run. And now the Patriots are pretty much tied for first place in the AFC.
Yeah, because of the Colts loss. But you know what's funny to me? How the Falcons show up against good teams, but they suck against really bad teams. Like, I don't understand that logic. Like, you get blown out by the Dolphins, and then you go up against the Patriots. It's like, what's going on here? Why don't you guys play like this against?
Very inconsistent.
They would be They would have a much better record if they played like this against bad teams.
But that was pretty much it. The Patriots are still continuing their winning streak, and I'll talk about where I think is going to be the biggest game and biggest test for them next week.
Yeah, so next game on the list, we had the Broncos and the Texans. And we predicted it last week. This was going to be a very low-scoring game, very defensive-minded game from both teams. The Broncos, they try to murder C.J. Stroud for some strange reason. I believe C.J. Stroud...
Who hit him? Nick Bonito or no?
No, some safety.
Okay. And those safeties are dangerous.
C.J. Stroud basically was running, trying to get the first down. He slid. But to the Broncos' defense here, no pun intended, he hit him as he was sliding. Yeah, it's one thing to hit him after he slid, but he hit him while he was like in the motion of sliding down, which obviously raises some question, but ultimately that put CJ Stroud in concussion protocol.
Was that play a flag?
Yeah, it was.
But the thing is,
anything like that is always going to be a flag.
You know what's crazy? Like, if Stroud was okay and got right up, I don't think it would have been a flag because
it still would have been a flag. The level of, I guess, how it happened and the way it happened.
I guess how quick it happened.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. It's always going to be a flag. But ultimately, this game was a lot of field goals. I believe there was only one touchdown scored, which was from R.J. Harvey. And that basically solidified the win for the Broncos, which is crazy because they were down, I believe, 8 in the fourth quarter. And this whole season, they just basically won each game, or most of the games, coming down from at least a touchdown plus.
Yep.
They're coming down from 19 against the Giants, coming down against, I think, 12 against the Eagles.
They are the comeback kids.
They are the comeback kids right now. Obviously, the Eagles, they kind of showed that at the beginning of the season, but they've been winning consistently on their regular. But the Broncos, they've just been coming back down. And now they lead the AFC West, which is kind of crazy because the Chiefs are 5-4. And we'll jump right into the game of the week, as we thought, which is the Chiefs and the Bills.
So the Chiefs and the Bills game, this is, again, another iteration of why Josh Allen has the best of Patrick Mahomes in the regular season, as always. It's. I think the record, he might be only like one loss to him.
I think he's 5-1, if I'm not mistaken.
And Josh Allen continues to show out in the regular season every time they play the Chiefs. But this was not a good performance from the Chiefs at all from all sides of the ball. The score ended up being 28-21,
which is close.
But this was not a good game for Patrick. No. Patrick had a career low percentage in the game. Their run game was absolutely non-existent. Kareem Hunt just looked bad. Isaiah Pacheco, he's not even good anymore, in my opinion.
Well, he's out. He's out now.
But I know. But even before, when he was playing, he's not even good.
Yeah, the one thing the Chiefs lost after they lost Jamal Charles, they didn't have like a good running back. Like Clyde Edwards-Helaire wasn't great. They dropped him to the practice squad.
Yeah.
They brought him up this game because Isaiah Pacheco got hurt.
It's so weird.
There were rumblings about them trading for Breece Hall, and they should have, to be honest. I'll touch the Jets on the sideline.
But in this game, the Bills do what they do best. They kind of delivered the short game. They
ran the ball.
They ran the ball with probably the top 3 running back in the league, and James Cook. He continues to show why he gets the plays that he needs to, and he has good runs when he needs to. And he has great vision because he always makes like very patient, gives me a lot of like Le'Veon Bell back then vibes, and when the way he runs, he's great. But the Bills defense, they do what they do best. Especially, they stepped up with a depleted Bills defense. They don't even have anybody.
Yeah, they didn't have Ed Oliver, Taylor Rapp.
Nobody. They have nobody on that defense, and those guys showed out against Patrick Mahomes. But this game, in my opinion, I don't think it's a huge deal for the.
Because they're both not even leading the division right now.
Right, but the Chiefs are technically right now out of the playoff contention, which is crazy to think about. But in this game, the Bills picked up the W, and they're going to probably go on this run right now, I believe.
Hopefully.
But the AFC is looking very competitive, very, very competitive.
It's I wouldn't call it competitive because there's no standout team as of
I'm
right
talking
now.
about competitive with wins. There's a lot of competitive people are in the same.
Well, in the bottom half, yeah, because a lot of teams are like 5-4.
That's what I'm talking about.
6-3.
Yeah.
So it's definitely going to lead more moving forward. There's going to be a lot of good games coming up, and I feel like the AFC will always be a gauntlet compared to the NFC.
Right.
But we're on to week 10 now, and we could touch upon our predictions for right now. So the first game on the list is Patriots and Bucks. I'll let you start because that's your team.
So this is going to be a good test for the Patriots. I think the Bucks are still very like depleted in weapons, but I think this is going to be a game where the Patriots need to pick up a victory. But in my opinion, I think the Patriots lose this game, and I think it's because the Bucks and Baker Mayfield, they're going to kind of show out why they're going to be a little bit formidable going into the end of the half of the season, because Baker Mayfield, he's been playing like an MVP. For him to continue this run as an MVP, I think he needs to show out against the Patriots, and I think he might have a good game, like a really good game against the Patriots. I think Drake May is also gonna have a good game, but I think they're not gonna do enough on the offense to solidify it. We lost Kayshon Boutte. I don't know what injury he's dealing with right now, but he's out for right now, and Ramondre Stevenson is out right now. I thought there was rumors about Patriots trying to trade for another running back, but it looks like they're gonna keep Travion Henderson, let him run with it, and see how it goes. And the thing is, like, I forgot about this too, and it was brought up yesterday. We did have a third running back, Antonio Gibson. He was doing great when the season started, but he just broke his leg and he was out. So now you have Terrell Jennings, who came on and actually scored a touchdown for the Patriots against the Falcons. He played well. So I think for them to have this dynamic back right now with Terrell Jennings and Travion Henderson, let them run with it and let's see how it goes. But overall, I'm picking the Bucks to win this game. I think it's going to be a low-scoring game. I think it's going to be a 17-13 game.
Interesting. Just a side disclaimer, I think the Bucks would be the best team in the NFL had everybody been healthy, in my opinion. They haven't had Bucky Irving. Mike Evans is out for the season. Chris Godwin hasn't even touched the field. Jalen McMillan hasn't even touched the field.
Yeah.
Just crazy to think about that. All of these players have not played for them at all, and they're still number one in the NFC South. And with that being said, I'm also going to roll with the Bucks. I feel like they're going to rise to the occasion. They're going to realize the test in front of them. Their defense has been relatively healthy throughout the year anyways. So it's just a matter of Baker Mayfield doing what he does best at the end of the games, bringing them down the field whenever he can. It's going to be a tough matchup for Christian Gonzalez to go up against Igbuga. I believe they are getting back Bucky Irving this week. So that's going to be a good motivation for them to run the ball.
Yeah.
Rashad White's still handling the rock. I think the Bucks, they win this game 24-17.
All right, and then the next game on the docket we have is the Steelers versus the Chargers.
Right, so this is an interesting game. You have two defensive-minded teams. Here's the thing. I feel like every time I discuss the Chargers, they always let me down. And I'm not going to discuss the Chargers. I'm actually going to roll with the Steelers on this one.
Yeah.
I feel like because of the big win that the Steelers just had against the Colts, that's motivation, that's fuel to the fire for them. I believe this is on Sunday Night Football, and rightfully so.
Yep.
I feel like it's going to be also a low-scoring game. There's going to be a lot of field goals. It's Dicker the kicker, Chris Boswell. I'm going to roll with the Steelers. I think it's going to be a 23-16 type of game for the Steelers.
So I'm going to actually go with the opposite. I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. And I think it's because we're going to have I think Aaron Rodgers is going to actually put on a show in this game and deliver the ball to DK Metcalf. DK Metcalf did nothing last game. And I know with a player like DK Metcalf, he's going to demand the ball the next game. When you demand him the ball and you give him the ball, he makes a lot of plays, explosive plays. I don't think that the Chargers have anybody in their defensive backs to hold him.
No.
So I think this is going to be a big game from DK. I'm also going to roll with the Steelers because of obviously them coming off the high of a big win. And I think the Steelers are going to dominate on the offensive game, but I also do think that the Chargers are going to step up offensively as well and try to match them. I think it's going to be a shootout. I think the Steelers win this game 35-32.
35, okay.
Next game on the docket is we have the Ravens versus the Vikings. So let's talk about this. Lamar Jackson is back. They look good with Lamar back. They didn't look great. They look good.
It's a work in progress.
It's a work in progress, and I think this is the game where Lamar shows out. I think we're going to see the MVP Lamar come out in this game against the Vikings. I think Lamar is going to run. I think he's going to rush for over 100 in this game. And that's because I don't think the Vikings have anyone defensive in the box or in the midline linebacking crew to stop Lamar Jackson when he makes these moves. And Lamar can definitely, obviously, hit passes and hit people on target. I'm going to roll with the Ravens because, obviously, I think that J.J. McCarthy's going to have trouble with that Ravens defense. And especially, this is going to be interesting because you also have Harbaugh on the other side. It's not Jim Harbaugh who coached him in Michigan, but John Harbaugh was a part of this, a lot of the coaching stuff in the offseason when they were talking with these kids, because John Harbaugh knows J.J. McCarthy very well too. So I think there's going to be a very good game plan for him. And I'm going to roll with the Ravens. I think Ravens win this game to 24-17.
Interesting. I'm going to go with the Ravens as well. I think it's going to be a big Derrick Henry game. We have yet to see him shine since the first game of the season.
He looks like he's been regressing.
But Lamar came back last week and he rushed over 100 yards. And
Right.
That's a good sign because when you have a dynamic duo like that, you don't know who's going to run the ball, especially on those read option plays.
He had Mark Andrews' life again.
Yeah, he had 2 touchdowns last week. I feel like the Ravens are going to move the ball down the field, a lot of play action. I feel like it's going to be a higher scoring game because I know you said the Ravens defense is going to give J.J. McCarthy trouble, but
Yeah.
I feel like the Ravens defense, they haven't been as good. Hopefully they hear me like the Steelers defense heard me this past week. But it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think the Ravens win this game 30-23.
Nice. And then next game we have on docket is the Rams versus the 49ers.
So this is an interesting game. Sneaky good game, in my opinion, because the Rams are the Rams. They have a high-powered offense. They have a pretty young defense that's been starting to play better as of recently.
Jared Verse looks like a problem.
Yeah, and then the 49ers, I don't know how they do it, but they have CMC in the back, and they basically just give him the ball and just get out the way, basically, for the
with
49ers.
Mac Jones leading the crew.
With Mac Jones towing the slab in Levi Stadium. I think the Rams, they pull off this game. I think it's going to be a lot closer than what people think it is. I think the Rams win this game 27-24. I think they win it on a game-winning field goal. And last time I said somebody was going to win on a game-winning field goal, it actually happened.
I'm going to roll with the 49ers this game.
Okay.
I think Mac Jones and CMC, they have this kind of click on offense. It's very interesting. They know where each other's going, and Mac Jones delivers him the ball. And that's what people want. Obviously, it's good for fantasy owners, but it's good for the team in general. And the thing is, it's interesting because the Niners don't have really an elite wide receiver right now, and they're still winning games. And that's all because of, I think, the Mac Jones play, because he's delivering the balls where they need to go.
It's a Kyle Shanahan system.
It's for sure it is. But you obviously have to have the receivers to get open and get them the ball and deliver strikes. And Jones is delivering strikes.
Right.
And a lot of people didn't think that he could do this. And everybody always talked about Kyle Shanahan always wanted Mac Jones, and look what he did with him, and look what he is doing with him. I think the Niners pick up this win. I think it's a divisional matchup, so it's obviously a big rivalry game for the Niners. And I think the Niners win this game. I'm going to go with the 21-24. 21-24. I think also it could be a game-winning, not a game-winning, but I think it's going to be a field goal difference in this game.
Like leading up to it.
Leading up to it. Gotcha. But next game and last game on our docket we have is the Eagles versus the Packers. So Eagles versus Packers. Packers are very, very weird.
They're suspicious.
Let's talk about the Panthers real quick about how they beat them in this game. The Panthers keep picking up these very sneaky damn wins everywhere. And before the season,
they have the same record as the Chiefs, which is crazy.
Right, and before the season even started, I had the Panthers doing well this season.
And they've been showing out.
Bryce Young's been looking better. They've been establishing the two-headed running back duo with Dowdle and
Hobart.
It's working for them. And Tet is looking like probably the offensive rookie of the year right now, maybe, because Ibuka kind of regressed.
Well, he's been hurt.
But he's hurt. What are you going to do? Tet steps up. You got to give it to him if he keeps stepping up. But I think that this game has to be a big win for the Eagles. I think the Eagles are going to win this game, in my opinion. I think we actually, again, we always have trade line drama with A.J. Brown, not traded. So usually when that happens, if you look at the statistics, A.J. Brown has a big game every time after the trade deadline. Every time.
Do you think he's going to have a big game?
I think he's going to have another big game.
The Packers traded... No.
They have Jair Alexander right now. The Eagles have him, which is going to be a return game for Jair against the Packers.
Yeah.
It's going to be interesting.
Yeah.
I think the Eagles win this game because of all the people that are coming into it. I think they have more firepower on the offensive side. I think Jalen Hurts is going to have a decent game. And the Packers defense, they've been looking very shaky. So I think the Eagles win this game. It's going to be 28-17.
Yeah, so I think Jordan Love is not who we thought he was going to be this season. Plus, the Packers, they don't have any good, or I wouldn't want to say good. They don't have any star players to catch the ball. They just lost Tucker Kraft for the season.
Yeah, big
And
blow.
I know the Eagles, they're going to surround the box to contain Josh Jacobs. And I also think that the Eagles are going to win this game. I think that A.J. Brown, I guess, let's see if your theory of the trade deadline shit, he probably should have a big game, so to speak. And obviously, Jair Alexander's coming back. I feel like he might end up getting at least a pick, maybe, because Jordan Love's decision making against the Panthers was very suspect. But I'm gonna roll with the Eagles as well. I think they win this game 31-17.
And that kind of sums up our NFL Week 10 predictions for this week. And as always, we're going to recap it in our next week's episode.
All right, guys. This week we had the return of the NBA Cup, but before that, we're going to give you guys our top 2 games of the week for the NBA season. The season's grinding on as it goes on.
Yeah, like
Halloween this past week, and it's been fun. I feel like there's been less and less defense being played, in my opinion, in the NBA.
I talked about this already, and I hate that there's barely any defense ever being played now.
Most of the games this past week, unless if you're really bad, it's just been high scoring after high scoring games. Like, you just hammer the over at this point. My first game on the list is the Warriors and the Pacers. The Pacers, they're still dealing with the loss of Tyrese Halliburton for the season, and he's not going to be back till next season. And they were actually winless coming into this game.
Right.
So they basically had like their bench role players come out and show up against the Warriors, and the Warriors didn't play like themselves. The Pacers actually won this game 114-109. Aaron Nesmith had 31 points, and then we had a rise of Quentin Jackson. Who? We don't know, but maybe this is a good opportunity for them to, I guess, be that new piece for the Pacers moving forward, because we know that Pascal Siakam is going to be there, Aaron Nesmith's going to be there, Andrew Nembhard's be there, but this was their first win. It's a step in the right direction. I don't know what they've done the last couple of games. I believe they lost to the Bucks last night on a game-winning bucket from Giannis Antetokounmpo.
Looking like Kobe.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then my second game on the list, this was actually an NBA Cup game. It was between the Celtics and the Sixers. The Celtics, they pulled out the victory 109-108. Now, the Celtics, they lost yesterday to the Jazz. They were up, I believe, 15 points, and I don't know what happened at the fourth quarter. They just
Lauri Markkanen, man.
And they do what the Celtics normally do. They start out really strong, and then they just unfold later on in the game. But during this game, they were leading big. I believe they were up close to 15 points, and then the Sixers, they basically relied on Tyrese Maxey. They didn't have Joel Embiid, but they came back. But ultimately, the Celtics, they just, I guess, do what they do best. They shoot threes. They move the ball around. But my problem with the Celtics, I just want to touch up on this real quick. They have no big man.
That's every year is the same thing.
Every year is the same thing, but it just never makes sense. Obviously, they had Porzingis, but he was always hurt.
Yeah.
And Brad Stevens needs to really look himself in the mirror and just be like, "Yo, we need a big man. What can we do? We don't have the pieces right now to do it, and it's going to be a struggle. Like, me and you could probably get rebounds against them."
And it's crazy, in this game, they didn't even have Joel Embiid. Imagine if he played.
Well, Joel Embiid's been looking suspect anyways, and he doesn't even do the jump ball.
Like, I told you what Joel Embiid was going to be.
His knees are like not even shot. They died.
Literally, I told you his peak was that MVP season, and after that, it just went downhill.
But the Celtics, they're looking like they're going to be a super mid team moving forward. The Sixers, on the other hand, there's a lot of good stuff going on for them, especially with the backcourt duo of Edgecombe and Maxey.
Yeah.
And it's just something to look forward to as the season progresses on.
All right, and then I'll go into my my favorite 2 games of the week. Let's talk about real quick. It's kind of 2 games in one. Is the Chicago Bulls and the New York Knicks series. So we had the Bulls, who have been very hot. Chicago Bulls look very good. It's very crazy to see that. They won the first game of this matchup, 135-125. Josh Giddey, he's been playing like an all-star. He's leading that unit, and he's just getting triple-doubles or very near triple-doubles. Feeding the ball to Vucevic, who's always like a very solid player. He's always been like that forever.
He's just a consistent player for them.
And mind you, they still don't even have Kobe White, who was literally playing like an all-star last year too. So imagine when Kobe White gets back in this rotation, the Bulls can make an impact this season, especially with a wide-open East like that.
Exactly.
And then we'll talk about game 2, where the Knicks showed out. And the Knicks did what they do best, is they got all their main players scoring, and they actually got some decent bench play on the next game. The Knicks won the second game 128 to 116. The bench for the Knicks just had to be more consistent, and it kind of showed, especially with Jordan Clarkson leading that unit. And Jalen Brunson, Cat, Mikal Bridges, OG, those four, they're going to do what they do. I think they all got 20 plus. So when they're all scoring 20 plus, it's going to be very hard to beat the New York Knicks. But that was my game one. Game two we're going to talk about is the Dallas Mavericks versus the Houston Rockets. So Houston Rockets, they've been looking good. They obviously have KD, who just joined the team. They lost Jalen Green. In my opinion, is actually a better move for them because now you can see the ball moving around and you don't have to rely on Jalen Green getting his shots up.
The one thing about the Rockets is the loss of Fred VanVleet is really difficult because they don't have a true point guard as of
right now. And you have like people like Amen Thompson playing the point, and he's doing fine. Like Amen Thompson actually had a really good game last night.
If they can acquire
they have the pieces to acquire.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If they can acquire better to average or better than average point guard, I think you're looking at a potential Western Conference Finals representation from the Rockets.
Right, and in this game we had pretty much KD taking a backseat now in Houston, where he's basically the third option on this team, where the Rockets feed him the ball anytime that they need a bucket, and obviously KD is one of the best scorers of all time. He gets a bucket, but it's obvious that this is Sengun's team right now, and he's running with it. Sengun is most likely going to be a surefire all-star this season.
Yeah, he's picked up a three-point game, which we haven't seen.
Right, and then you also have Amen Thompson, who's kind of being recognized as one of the best two-way players in the league. He had a crazy dunk where a putback, I believe it was a lob from Sengun to him, where it was like a reverse lob. Looked insane. But let's talk about the Dallas Mavericks on the other side. So the Dallas Mavericks, they're very depleted. Anthony Davis injured, no surprise. Kyrie Irving is not going to be back anytime soon. And right now we're relying on people like P.J. Washington trying to carry us. Klay Thompson. Klay Thompson doesn't really have much left in him. Like he's slowly regressing.
He's on that Meg Thee Stallion juice right now.
And good for him. Like at the end of the day, let Klay Thompson. He's done whatever he did in his career.
He's a champ.
He's a 4-time champ. Yeah. Let him do whatever the hell he wants.
They've been relying on D'Angelo Russell too.
Right. And actually, is Klay a 5-time champ? Because Curry's a 5-time champ.
Curry's a 4-time champ.
Oh, sorry, he's a 4-time? Yeah, he's a 4-time. So Klay's a 4-time champ. At this point, he's just playing for the love of the game, honestly. He doesn't even need to play anymore. He has the money, he has everything. In this game, it was a big thing that I wanted to see what Cooper Flagg was going to do. Cooper Flagg started off the season very rough, but he's slowly getting into the game. Last night, he had a decent game. Nothing crazy, but he had his double-double. That's what I expect him to get all the time. But in that game, he had too many turnovers, and they were kind of exposing him because they're playing Cooper Flagg at the point guard position, really. It's not a point guard. He's a 3 or maybe a 4, but I would even put him at a 4 with some of the players that there is out there in the 4 position. But he's a 3 position. I think he's a true 3. And when he plays that position, he's able to get the ball and do what he does best, is doing pull-up jumpers, having breakaway fast break dunks. Like, he's very good at that stuff. And obviously, this is reiterating again, he's only 19 years old. Like, there's a lot to see from him. And I just think in this game, like, and especially the Dallas Mavericks, they're not looking good. They're not going to be looking good until AD comes back.
Until everybody's healthy.
Yeah, and that's what people are expecting, and that's what Maverick fans like me are kind of expecting towards probably like after All-Star break is where we're really going to expect them to kind of show out or go home at that point. But that was pretty much our NBA recap for our favorite games that we saw this past week. But now we're going to quickly talk about our NBA Cup predictions. We're not going to go through every single game. We're going to talk about exactly who we think is going to be in the final and who we think is going to win. So I'll let you talk about who you think.
Yeah, so I'm actually going to go with a different approach here. Obviously, you could talk about the best teams like
yeah, for sure.
The Knicks on the one side, but I'm actually going to go with a little bit of a shocking NBA Cup final. I'm going to go with the Detroit Pistons versus the Golden State Warriors. The reason being, I'm going to say the Warriors because of their veteran presence. The only thing questionable about the Warriors is the lack of a big man on their end.
Right.
But they have Steph Curry, they have Jimmy Butler, they have Draymond Green, they have Steve Kerr as a coach. And I feel like they can capitalize on a lot of games in their pool, so to speak. And I feel like they're going to make a run at the NBA Cup. Why I'm going to roll with the Pistons is because the Eastern Conference, because of where they are in the pool,
right.
I believe the only team that they need to be concerned about is the Cavs, in my opinion.
Yeah, they have this.
They're in the same pool as the Celtics and the Cavs.
Right.
They're trying to alter. Well, moving forward,
you still have to play them if you get to it.
And I feel like they're going to have some sense of urgency because of the loss that they just endured against the Knicks this past postseason. And I feel like if they do meet in the quarterfinals or semifinals, I feel like they're gonna show out and beat them. And I feel like the Pistons are gonna go. I'm gonna take the Warriors actually winning the NBA Cup Finals.
Another thing to add to Curry's resume.
Exactly, which is kind of crazy to think about. But yeah, I'm gonna roll with the Pistons and the Warriors in the NBA Cup Finals.
Okay, for me, let's talk about the West Side real quick. I think for me from the West Side, I'm gonna roll with the San Antonio Spurs. Wembanyama is looking like the clear MVP right now, in my opinion. Wembanyama just looks unstoppable. Nobody can stop him right now.
It's fucking freak of nature.
It's crazy that he literally in the offseason went to just go be a monk. And look what he come back and does. He probably figured out some breathing techniques or whatever it is that he learned wherever he was at these monasteries and kind of like using that to play basketball. And it's interesting. You always hear about great players that have these off-season techniques to make them feel great. And with Michael Jordan, it used to be with Phil Jackson talking about Native American culture and using that stuff to breathe it into their players. And that's what made them great. I'm very curious to see if this is something that Wembanyama is going to do going on in his career, being and studying with these monks and making him feel like nobody can stop him. And that's what he's playing like. So I'm going to roll with the Spurs on the West side. On the East side, I'm going to actually roll with the Milwaukee Bucks. I think the Milwaukee Bucks are going to get back into the NBA Cup finals. And it's very interesting because Giannis Antetokounmpo also looking unstoppable as he always does. It's so crazy that his unstoppability is getting so like normal now. Giannis is putting up 30 and 15 like it's nothing. And nobody's talking about it anymore because they just assume it's normal. It's really not normal. When you play up against Giannis Antetokounmpo, everybody knows that you're kind of starting to fear the deer. And,
freak, man.
And it's crazy. And I think that with the way that he's been playing and delivering the ball to these players, and with them especially trying to step up and show out, I think the Milwaukee Bucks make it to the Cup. And I'm going to roll with the Milwaukee Bucks repeating. I think they're going to repeat, and it's going to be very crazy because we never had a repeat Cup champion yet.
The Cup just started.
I think they're going to win. I think it's going to be a great finals matchup with Giannis versus Wemby, and I think it's going to be very interesting to see how that matchup goes. We're going to probably have two leading MVP candidates in that matchup. I can see a monster slam from Giannis on Wemby just going right at him. It's going to be a great matchup if those two are in the NBA Cup predictions finals. But that's kind of sums up our NBA Cup predictions and our NBA recap for this week. All right, guys, now it's time for our sideline heel takes for this week. So I'm going to start off first, and the thing that I'm going to be talking about right now, real quick, that's been all over the sports world and just in media in general, is the streaming services. I'm not going to lie, streaming services are starting to piss me off because I'm one of these people where I recently, last year, got off of cable. I was on cable for forever, and I know you're still on cable because I realized, dude, cable at that time was so expensive.
It still is.
It still is, and I'm paying so much for it. But I'm like, you know what? It's time to do it. Everyone's doing it. Let me switch to what I have right now is YouTube TV. And YouTube TV has been known to have really good service for the last few years, ever since they started it. But for me, right now, I have a total of 4 streaming services. I have Netflix, I have HBO Max, I have Hulu, and I have primarily what I use now for obviously our sports talks, obviously our wrestling recap, is YouTube TV.
I got like 6 streaming services.
Right, and it just lets you know like how much of the monopoly that streaming services are starting to have on the media world. But this whole take stemmed from YouTube TV recently getting rid of Disney Channel or Disney-related channels. And that's a problem. Disney obviously has their hands on all these big channels we're talking about with ESPN and especially ABC. These are 2 big things that obviously that NBA just moved to. And now, like, I don't even have access to it. I don't even have access to Monday Night Football anymore. I don't have access to these NBA games. And I don't even have access to ABC News anymore, which is kind of crazy. When on a regular cable channel, you just turn on Channel 7, ABC's right there.
Yeah.
No, even if you have cable or not, you can still get your Channel 7. I have no more access to that. And the thing is, YouTube TV has been having this issue with these agreements and people not agreeing to a certain amount of money that they want to make on these contracts. They had these disputes with Fox. NBC Universal, Paramount, these are all major channels that have basically hands on everything. And it's just getting to the point where YouTube TV specifically finds its way to continue in these network disputes. Like, I don't know when they're going to solve this ESPN and ABC and Disney related issues. Like, this is a problem. Like, people are starting to think about canceling their YouTube TV and going back to cable or finding other.
It's just too much going on with so many different, like, why do we need to pay extra to bundle ESPN, Hulu, and Disney Plus.
Well, you save more money, you do.
I understand that, but if you think about it, like you have Hulu plus live TV and stuff like that, which is understandable. But at the end of the day, I feel like there's just too much going on right now where you just like people are just spending unnecessary money, especially to get content that was meant for cable, but now is on.
But the thing is, let's talk about this. Is the media companies are doing what they do. They're business people. Your business, you're gonna follow where the money is,
right?
And you know that people are going to streaming services, so you're gonna want to charge those streaming services for more money. Like, you want my content, I'm gonna charge you for it. And it's back then you didn't really have other platforms to do this, and that's why cable was able to get all these channels, and you were able to pay for it. It was expensive, but there was no disputes, there was nothing. Everything was established because there was no other variation that you can go to. There was no other competition. Now there's so much competition that it's just how business works. It's like, you want the best, you got to pay for the best. And now it's looking like that
there's gonna be an increasing amount
of course it's the thing is like programs. Of course what's gonna happen is what they've been doing all the time now. These disputes have been going on, they get solved, but what happens is the subscription amount goes up.
Yeah,
it just goes up. No, like your YouTube TV, I'm paying $82 a month for it. It's not cheap. That, I know it's cheaper than cable still, but like, how really cheap is it when you keep going through these contract disputes and you can't have certain channels for a few weeks? Like, at that point, it just makes you feel like, will cable TV make a comeback and eventually lead to being more affordable again? It could be, especially if these streaming services are not able to connect with deals, because you know that cable is always going to end up having a deal set in place, because that's just going to be catering to people that back, so many other places in America or around the world, they're going to stick with their cable because that's what they know first. But I think that streaming was supposed to save us from cable, but now we're paying more and watching less and losing content faster. I feel like we're just not cutting the cord. It's just plugging into a pricier one. And it's kind of crazy to think about, because I thought that streaming services was going to be the way to go. And now with all these disputes, especially with the raise and increase in pricing, and I think it's going to lead to maybe cable making a comeback. All right, guys, now it's time to talk about the Spartan sideline he'll take for this week. We're going to be discussing football. We're going to be discussing his favorite team, who he has been kind of dodging for the last few weeks and not really talking about, because they really don't have much to talk about. But right now, I think he's kind of fed up, and I'll let him sound off. It's time for Farden to talk about the New York Football Jets.
Yeah. So I took off my mic, and usually when this comes off, things are going to go really deep.
It's time to sit back for this one, guys.
We had the NFL trade deadline today, and there was a lot of questions circling about what the Jets were going to do with their star players, whether that was Quinnen Williams, Sauce Gardner, Breece Hall, Garrett Wilson, Jermaine Johnson. And
mind you, these are all very skilled and star players.
Exactly. Ultimately, what the Jets decided to do was they went in a different direction. We don't know what it means moving forward. They traded Quinnen Williams to the Cowboys, and they traded Sauce Gardner to the Indianapolis Colts. And it was kind of a shocking, it just shocked my system when I saw.
Okay, I'll tell you one thing real quick. I was shocked about Sauce. Quinnen, I kind of saw happening, because Quinnen was just like, he just looked like
he just didn't want to be there.
He didn't want to be there.
Nobody wants to be there. It's just a simple fact.
But Sauce, you just paid him.
You paid Quinnen last year. So this just doesn't make sense. I'm going to just touch up on a few points about the Jets here. Yeah. One, let's talk about the main elephant in the room, which is Woody Johnson. As long as Woody Johnson is living, breathing, has a stake in the franchise, this franchise is not going to go anywhere. He doesn't know what he'd be doing sometimes. He's fired multiple head coaches without building a team around that head coach. Like, we had Todd Bowles, and he had a good team around him in 2015, 2016, but they couldn't capitalize when it mattered the most. And the Jets just haven't seen anything since the 2009-2010 season. Now, I've been a Jets fan for all my life, which when I started watching football, which was around 2002, 2003, yes, I was only like 4 or 5 years old, but I remember. But I chose my hometown team because that's where my heart lied. And I know a lot of people, they went for more winning, like teams that were winning at the time, whether that was the Patriots or whether that was the Steelers, the Eagles at the time.
Yeah.
Which is understandable. You choose what you want. Everybody chooses their team, but I feel like over the last 15 years or so, the Jets just became a laughingstock to the rest of the league, to the rest of the fans out there. And it's just unfortunate because we have to sit through Woody Johnson's upbringings, and he set the franchise back because of his eagerness and his selfishness to bring in Aaron Rodgers, which we thought at first, I was one of them to say, yeah, he's going to come, he's going to lead this young, talented team to something. And
And who
ultimately,
wouldn't think that when you have one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time?
who ultimately just, obviously, he got hurt in the first game of the season when he first played, and he didn't do much last season anyways. That's number one. Is Woody Johnson, he needs to go, whether that's with Father Time, which I don't want to sound fucked up as, or he just needs to open his eyes, take some ayahuasca. I don't know, but he needs to go. Number two is, even with his going, the Jets, they never seem to I feel like they never get the coach right. And I feel like Aaron Glenn, like I said in previous Sideline Heel Takes, is that he's going to get let down by his team. And I just read a report that Darren Muji was like, "Oh, this is not a rebuilding moment for us." Well, then what is it? You reloaded yourself up with draft picks, which is what Joe Douglas did when he was
Right.
GM in 2022. He loaded up a whole bunch of draft
You
picks.
got a lot.
They got Sauce Gardner, they got Garrett Wilson, they got Jermaine Johnson, they got Brees Hall in the same draft. You're basically doing what he did, which is fine. I get it. You want to get rid of the players that deserve to win, that want to win, and you traded them to places. Well, I don't know about the Cowboys as of yet, but you traded Sauce to the Colts, and he has a chance to win there. You kept Brees Hall, and you kept Garrett Wilson, and you kept Jermaine Johnson. What is the plan here? Because we don't know what the plan is. This season is lost. It was lost, I would say, after maybe like week 5.
Yeah,
And
week 4, honestly.
like they had at the beginning of the season, outside of the Bills game, they could have won each and every one of those games. They could have beat the Broncos. They could have beat the Dolphins. They could have beat the Steelers. And we could easily be right now 5-4, 6-3. But the team, they just had no chemistry. They have no discipline at the beginning of the season.
And
they started showing towards now. But at the end of the day, the Jets, they're still not going to be poised to be in a situation to win, especially with the people that they have around them. And now that all of these star players, or both two major star players are gone, who you paid, it's just setting up the franchise, not necessarily up for failure, but it raises the question, like, what's next for this team? Because you loaded up on these draft picks. You're obviously going to go a more younger route. You're going to try to go after a franchise quarterback, whether that's this year or next year, whether that's Fernando Mendoza or Dante Moore, who I'm really interested in. But maybe bring in, maybe that's for the year after. To be honest, I don't. He hasn't showed me anything for him to be drafted right now. But Jeremiah Smith is coming out. Ryan Williams is coming out. Maybe you help out Garrett Wilson with all of these players.
I love Ryan Williams, man.
But the thing is with the Jets is I'm flustered. They got me so flustered I dropped my mic. But it's crazy because we don't deserve this. Like I'm sick of hearing a lot of people say it's just
same old Jets.
It's not even that this is the same old Jets. It's just you're doing stupid things that shouldn't be given for the fans, and we deserve. Like, obviously, when we have something prosperous to look forward to, it's just something just goes wrong, and it just puts us down like a.
And what I don't get is, like, the Jets are always the team that does these wild moves. Like, they're always the ones they're part of this. Like, they're the forefront of getting rid of players or trying to do something interesting, but it doesn't lead to anything.
It's the problem is they feel like they should go in on certain players when they shouldn't. Like, I understand the reasoning behind going after Aaron Rodgers, and I wasn't for going after Rodgers. I wanted Lamar Jackson. That should be told, but obviously Lamar chose the money and he stayed with the Ravens, rightfully so. But moving forward, now looking ahead to next season, we have a lot of draft picks.
A lot, yeah.
We're gonna have a lot of cap space moving forward for the next few years. A lot of expiring contracts. So in hindsight, 2020 here, looking ahead to the bigger picture, there's a lot of things to look forward to. It's just a matter of getting those pieces right, getting the right personnel, and obviously this season is lost. Next season to look forward to is what we can utilize with the draft picks that we get. Do we trade for somebody else to help out, whether that's on the defense, whether that's on the offense? What's more to come? It's exciting to see, but as of right now, presently constructed, it's very tough to see that you lose 2 all-pro defenders.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, the Jets are the Jets. Woody Johnson needs to go. I feel like all Jets fans should rise to the occasion. We should all drive to MetLife Stadium, just stand outside the stadium with picket signs and posters, just say sell the team. Because if you think about it, the Commanders, they sold the team and they turned their team around. And I'm not saying this is going to happen with the Jets, but
Right.
all it takes is just one change in ownership and your whole franchise changes. The perspective, the narrative of the whole team
Yeah,
changes.
the mood, the
And
morale, all that
like
stuff.
you want to, this is not a winning mindset from Woody Johnson. And you have players that clearly don't want to play for him. And
Yeah.
it's not even, I don't think I'm sure they want to play for Aaron Glenn and they've shown it. But when you have an owner that just doesn't really care about shit, it's just, it's blasphemous to see. And we'll see. We'll talk about this in 2026. Like I said, the only reason why I want to discuss this is because this was very shocking to us, especially with the talent that we did have. And obviously, I have no reason to talk about them moving forward unless if they somehow rattle off 9 straight wins, which at this point is looking like a dream. But at this point, it is what it is, and we just gotta
At this point,
endure this season to look forward to next season, which would be insane for the last 10 years. But yeah,
at this point, the only thing that I can kind of see is the only time that the Jets will make news is if they get the first pick. But that kind of wraps up our sideline heel take.
At that point, they might as well just fuck it up because they fucked it up in 2020 when they won a pointless game against the Rams and they missed out on Trevor Lawrence. But then again, it's the Jets, and they probably would have ruined Trevor Lawrence as much as he was already ruined by the Jags.
All right, and that kind of sums up our sideline heel take for this week. All right, guys, now that kind of sums up our week recap in sports and wrestling for this week. That kind of sums up our week episode 18. So we're going to be going on to episode 19, where obviously we're going to be talking about our wrestling recap, as it's getting pretty much the straightforward path to Survivor Series at this point. And in our sports recap, we're going to be talking about obviously our NFL recaps, as well as our NBA recaps and Cups games as well. But that's pretty much sums up it, and we'll talk to you guys next week, and thank you guys for joining us. Peace.